From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Our top story, a local man says he's thankful to be alive after a tour boat sank off the coast of Costa Rica.
Dale Barkhuff of Fairbanks was on board a catamaran headed for Tortuga Bay last Thursday when it capsized, knocking more than 100 people overboard. 3 people died. An investigation into the cause of the accident points to strong winds and choppy waters. Barkhuff says he was one of the last to be rescued as he and 3 others clung to a kayak and other debris from the boat for at least an hour. The 3 drifted about 7 miles from the sinking ship. Now, he tells us in a Skype interview that the day started off with sunshine and 90-degree temperatures. About 45 minutes into the cruise, the boat hit a wave, knocking people's drinks out of their hands, and then it was utter chaos.
Tipped, and I mean, half the people went down to the, into the bottom. The other half got shot out the top. I mean, it's chaos. I mean, there's 100 people out there trying to find a piece of plastic to float on. There was a little boy that we put up there on the kayak to make sure made him out of the water. Of course, he couldn't find his mom or dad. It was unbelievable that more disaster didn't come out of it.
A tentative settlement between the school district and the family of an alleged sexual assault victim is temporarily on hold in Fairbanks Superior Court. Claude Folks, who has been in jail for nearly a year, says he received the paperwork Friday. The document filed on January 7th says the district opposed the approval of a civil settlement that would award the victim's family over $900,000. Approval was denied because the district disputed the plaintiff's assertion that claims against Folks would continue. The school board says it does want to move forward with the settlement based on the memorandum signed in mediation. However, that agreement states the family could not continue to seek claims against Folks. Folks' legal guardian says the family wants more money.
Not only do they want the $920,000, they also want to sue Claude. The school's like, no, we sue Claude, you guys just get this. No, that's not enough for them. Everything that you think you know, you don't know. There's evidence out there that Claude has that can dispute everything.
In a letter, Claude Folks claims evidence against him contains fraudulent information, including filed police reports. He further says that evidence could call the entire settlement into question. Attempts to interview Folks on camera have been denied by the Department of Corrections.
The National Weather Service is confirming what a lot of Alaskans concluded about temperatures last year. 2014 was warm. The agency says 2014 surpassed 1926 as Alaska's warmest year on record. The new record is 0.2 of a degree higher than the previous number, averaged out at about 31.2 degrees. The warm year was driven in part by mild temperatures statewide during the months of January, May, November, and December. Agency manager Rick Tolman is predicting that the first part of 2015 could follow a similar warming trend.
Looks like the odds tilt that the rest of the winter across Alaska as a whole is likely to be warmer than normal. And of course, it's the wintertime temperatures that really make a big difference in that annual temperature, just because the variation is so much larger in the winter than in the summer. So while it's unlikely that 2015 would be as warm as 2014, it certainly looks like the first part of the year is going to be pretty warm statewide.
U.S. Army Alaska's Arctic wolves have traveled more than 3,400 miles from Fairbanks to California and are facing an 80-degree temperature difference to test their readiness to be globally deployable. The 1st Striker Brigade combat team from Fort Wainwright officially kicked off its one-month National Training Center rotation today at Fort Irwin. While the brigade is not scheduled for a deployment, successful completion of this training ensures that all personnel and systems are ready for a variety of missions. A major part of the task is simply getting the troops and equipment moved.
It's a very significant portion of what makes a brigade combat team so flexible and so lethal is its ability to transport over 600 vehicles and 4,200 soldiers. And this rotation is intended to certify them in every aspect of their mission. They're going to be engaged in some pretty high-intensity combat training scenarios while they're down at NTC.
All right, when we come back, the Chancellor for UAF will discuss the school's budget tomorrow at the weekly chamber luncheon.
Also, we will spotlight another one of the 21 agencies of the United Way of the Tanana Valley. Stay with us.
Welcome back. University of Alaska Fairbanks Chancellor Brian Rogers will be talking about the school's budget tomorrow. Rogers will be speaking at the Fairbanks Chamber of Commerce General Membership Luncheon at noon in the Carlson Center. The State of the University address will include an introduction to the budget scenario for the next year. University officials say this will be the first public presentation to show the magnitude of the shortfall. The budget actions come in response to an $8 million cut by the state legislature and an expected $4 to $6 million rise in fixed operating costs.
A Fairbanks grand jury has indicted a Kobuk man on sexual assault charges. According to the indictment handed down on Friday, 32-year-old Jason Guy Moyer is charged with 2 counts of first-degree sexual assault as well as third-degree felony assault. The alleged assault occurred in July of 2013, but few other details were available. Now, the indictment says Moyer had sex with the unidentified victim without consent. Moyer will be arraigned in Fairbanks Superior Court.
A Huslia man has been indicted by a grand jury for assault. 27-year-old Aaron Kozevnikov was indicted on charges of second-degree felony assault. The documents say Kozevnikov and another man, Floyd Vent Jr., assaulted Arthur Roberts outside of a tribal hall during a New Year's celebration. The victim escaped but returned with a gun. Witnesses say partygoers took the gun from Roberts, and Kozevnikov and Vent began to kick and stomp on him. Roberts was flown to Anchorage for treatment of injuries, including facial fractures.
Well, it's time once again to shine the spotlight on another one of the 21 agencies that make up the United Way of the Tanana Valley. Here's Mike Schultz with a look at the North Star Youth Court.
The mission of the North Star Youth Court is to reduce crime and substance abuse while promoting social justice and alternative dispute resolution. In other words, young adults accused of crimes are defended and judged by their peers of the same age group in a courtroom setting. Alicia Childs is the executive director for the agency, and she knows all about the youth court because as a teenager she was very active as a lawyer, judge, and mediator. So she realizes the importance of funding from the United Way.
The funds help us a lot. They go towards our program and making sure that we're able to better serve the youth. And then they also have the substance abuse fund that we are able to use for our drug and alcohol awareness class. So youth offenders who have gone to minor consuming or a mix 6, they're able to go through and take a class on drugs and alcohol.
What is it that makes Alicia so proud of the North Star Youth Court and their programs?
I'm really proud of the youth that come through, both the defendants and the youth attorneys and judges. It's great watching someone come in and be nervous and flourish in the program, learn leadership skills and independence and problem-solving skills, and come out confident people ready to go into adult world.
During her time with the youth court, Alicia says there is one fulfilling moment she can remember about one particular individual.
He went through the program and everyone was so professional and so sweet, and he really liked his youth attorneys and he was amazed, and he said it really made an impact on him that it wasn't some adult telling him that he had made a mistake.
She'd like to encourage other kids to join the youth court.
We have a training coming up for youth ages 12 to 18 who are interested in becoming youth court attorneys and mediators. And it's a completely free class. They can come in, learn about youth court, learn about the law, and at the end they take their exam and they're able to take on real juvenile cases.
The United Way campaign is coming to an end soon, but there's still time to donate. Mike Schultz reporting.
All right, it was a loaded weekend for sports fans. Joe Cook is up next with part 1 of the weekend recap and the I-5.
That's right. Stick around for that and more when Joe returns.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here again with your weekend recap. But before we get to that, a sports event finished up this afternoon. This year's Copper Basin 300 dog sled race winner is who else? Alan Moore. Moore won his 3rd straight Basin 300 today, coming into Glen Allen at about 1:45. He's also in the last 2 Yukon Quest races. Moore won $6,400 in the win. The top 4 finishers received payouts from the $16,000 purse. 49 mushers participated in the 310-mile loop that started and ended in Glen Allen. Ryan Reddington Jr. was second, coming in 2 minutes after Moore. Ryan Olson and Nicholas Pettit followed. In local college hoops, the Alaska Nanniks met with the Anchorage Seawolves at the Patty Center Saturday night. It's the first matchup of the season between the rivals. The Seawolves seized control of this game from the outset with a 13-5 run. They were up 37-23 at the half. UAA had 4 players finish in double figures. Alaska also had 4 players in double figures, led by Almira Hadjisevic's 12, and the Nooks rallied in the second half. They were down by as much as 20, but they made it a 9-point game with 3 minutes left. The UAA's Travis Thompson led all players with the game-high 21 points, 13 in the second half. UAA wins in a wire-to-wire 76-64 win, ending the Nanniks' 3-game win streak while getting their 5th consecutive victory. The women's basketball team was successful over the weekend. They won 74-65 over the Western Oregon Wolves on Saturday. Senior point guard Benisa Bulaya had a heck of a line. A game-high 21 points, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 7 rebounds. Jordan Wilson also added 16 points in the win. Alaska is ranked 3rd in the GNAC. They are tied with SPU for the best winning streak in the conference at 6 games. UAF will play at number 7 UAA this Saturday. In hockey, the Alaska Nanniks were mere seconds from ending Bowling Green's NCAA best unbeaten streak after being shut out 3-0 on Friday night. But the Falcons scored 2 goals in the final 38 seconds to force overtime and get a 4-4 tie. Alaska was up 4-1 in the 3rd period, but Ben Murphy scored twice for the Falcons in the last 38 seconds to bookend a 3-0 run. BG is now 6-0-3 on their unbeaten streak, best in the country. Alaska didn't leave Ohio empty, though. They earned a point with the tie. UAF is 12-9-1, 7-8-1 in the WCHA, which is good for 6th place. Alaska hosts rival UAA for the first game of the Governor's Cup at the Carlson Center this Friday night. The Fairbanks Ice Dogs cruised at home on Saturday night, facing off against their in-state rival, the Kenai River Brown Bears. The Ice Dogs kept the momentum on their side. Following Friday night's 6-1 victory, Chandler Modric scored a power play goal to get things started. Made a one-timer from Somoza and Johnny Mueller. Then later in the first, Mitchell Bowman, he gets his first goal as an Ice Dog after an Adam Clevin shot trickled off of Bauman for the score. Joseph Ingman got his first goal on Friday. Then he got into his first fight in front of the Ice Dog fans. He held his own. Nice uppercut there. Ethan Somoza would tack on 2 more goals in the 2nd and 3rd periods. Jacob Hetz, he provided the final tally as the Ice Dogs dominate 5-0. Kevin Aldridge gets the shutout on 21 saves in his first game back in the Banks. With the sweep, the Ice Dogs have a 5-1 lead in the Raven Alaska Cup Series.
It's obviously important for him to get back on his feet after what he's been going through this season. So, we look forward to helping him out, and it's obviously a big deal for him to get that shutout.
We recently switched up the lines, and I've been playing with Madry and Hetz. We've just been clicking, and we work well down low together. So they've been getting me the puck, and I've just been able to put it in.
Yeah, it's obviously important to come out and finish a team. They could be a struggling team, and you never know. This could be the game that they turn it around. So we don't want to spark that. So we came out hard. We knew it had to be done, and we got the job done.
And now we wrap things up with the I-5 interior top 5 plays. Let's check them out.
Number 5, UAF's Reese Davis makes the tough reverse layup under the basket to go, plus the foul against the Seawolves on Saturday. What a shot, but UAA would get the win. At number 4, Jalen McCullough of Monroe with a nice no-look pass to a cutting Michael Cluting, who finishes for the Rams in a win over the K-High Kings in their Mount McKinley Bank opener on Thursday. Number 3, Andy Clark nails a deep 3 at the end of the first quarter buzzer for the Rams against Ketchikan. Clark gets the highlight. K-High, they got the win. At number 2, we call this making a first impression. Joseph Ingman's first goal as an Ice Dog gets lodged in the net against the Kenai River Brown Bears on Friday night. The Dogs win 6-1 and sweep Kenai. At number 1, high school hockey, West Valley, Stasi Skorolski finds Zach Saveride in transition for the slapper and the game-winning goal in the second period over the Diamond Lynx on Saturday. West Valley wins 3-2. To vote for the play of the week, click on your play on the I-5 poll on Webster11.com. You can also comment on the KTVF Facebook and YouTube posts, and send a tweet to KTVF11 Sports on Twitter for your vote. The play of the week will be revealed this Friday.
The I-5 Sports Report is brought to you by Adient Orthopedic Physical Therapy.
And it was a full weekend of sports, so tomorrow we'll have the high school sports weekend recap. I'm out of time, but Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Mike Schultz with you once again, talking about weather on our Monday night newscast. Hope you had a good weekend. It was pretty nice temperature-wise. no real snow to talk about, but we are looking at some snow on the horizon. I'll tell you about that in just a little bit. And it could be the kind you maybe even have to shovel a little bit. Here's what's going on in our photograph for tonight. This one's sent in by Gary Parsons in the icy Chena River. You can see the colors and everything, and no ice here because it's probably just around the areas they get the warm water coming in, but still beautiful picture there. And as always, if you have a photograph, by all means send it to photos at ktvf11.com. Our almanac for the day, today's high 25, right now 21 degrees, but just mainly foggy and cloudy conditions. The low last night 21. Record high 39, 1984. In 1934 dropped down to 56 below. And your sunrise and sunset works out to not quite 5 hours of daylight. We'll go over 5 hours tomorrow. Here's what's going on the satellite radar. You can see where we're looking about the snow. This is a pretty good band of moisture moving up from the south, and quite a bit of it is expected to make its way through the passes, and that will help to give us a little bit of snow starting tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night, and maybe even 2 to 4 inches is possible by Wednesday. So we're looking at a little bit of accumulation, but the winds will continue to be out of the south, which means warm temperatures. What's going on across the rest of the state? Well, over southeast Alaska, it is raining. Juneau raining. Ketchikan, 45 degrees in rain there. Over the south central sections, just mainly cloudy skies at Anchorage, but rain around Kodiak, 44. Along the Aleutian Chain, 38 degrees at Cold Bay. Nice weather up and down the west coast, and very warm, I should say, 37 at Nome, 18 below at Barrow, and 6 above at Fort Yukon. Lower 48 weather looks like this over the Pacific Northwest. Once again, the sunshine has come out over the Seattle area, 52 degrees there. Pretty nice over the southwest. A little chilly around Denver, 28 degrees there. Chilly in Dallas, 44. Minneapolis at 5 degrees. Chicago, 20. And over the southeast, a little rain falling around New Orleans, the southern sections of Florida, but up the east coast, things are looking pretty good there. On our satellite and radar, you can see the moisture that was bringing the rain pushing out over the Atlantic Ocean. Out behind, out to the west, we see a little bit of a closed area of low pressure bringing cold temperatures and some light snow. And the overall outlook for Monday, for tonight, for the northeast is calling for a real mix of weather, snow and ice and even rain right in a small area there, so they got to keep an eye on that. And the jet stream is calling for, once again, cold air to move down over the eastern half of the country, warm over the western half. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Here's what it looks like there. Northern sections, partly cloudy in Barrow, mostly cloudy at Nome, and cloudy skies expected for Yukon. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at, for the most part, some snow developing for Fairbanks and Delta, and freezing rain is possible in Healy, so keep that in mind if you're driving out that direction tomorrow. Over southeast Alaska, the rain will continue with very mild temperatures, 46 at Ketchikan. Over the southwest, rain is likely at Cold Bay, rain and snow at Bethel, and some rain for Kodiak Island. And if you're heading on down to the Anchorage area, freezing rain in Anchorage, unfortunately, showers at Homer, and rain expected for Valdez. Well, once again, time for our kids' weather. It's a new week, which means it's a new time for some kids to join us here. And this week, we're going to be talking with the kids from Salsha Elementary School. Here's a young lady with a story to share tonight.
2 friends went on a walk. One of them was wearing a tank top with short shorts, and the other was wearing 50-pound snow clothes. The girl with the tank top said, "We're just going on a walk." The other said, "I know, I'm just being prepared." "For what?" said the other. "We are supposed to have snow," she said. "Didn't you check the weather?" So the girl in the tank top got snowed on. Always check the weather.
That's right. Always check the weather before you go out somewhere. Thanks to Mount McKinley Bank. Tomorrow night, another young lady will be here with an interesting story. Here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Cloudy skies, areas of fog, some flurries, 12 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast, we're going to see some snow developing by noon, it looks like. 23 degrees, maybe a couple inches is possible, and then more snow on Wednesday. As you can see here, 9 degrees for the high, and then temperatures right around the mid-teens, which is very nice, and overnight lows will also continue quite normal, or actually above normal for this time of year. So our weird winter continues, but I don't think anybody's going to complain that much because it could be a lot colder, that's for sure.
Nice temperatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. And, you know, we needed the snow anyway, so, you know.
Yep, get some more.
I don't mind the snow.
Just the cold.
Stephanie wants us so she can go shushing down the
slopes.
Shushing. Shushing.
All right.
Never.
That will wrap up this edition of the Fbx Evening News. We're glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, 1 million people band together in Paris to march against terrorism. That's next with Brian Williams.
Join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.